I got an interesting one for you guys today. It might be a little bit more quick and simple, might be a little more straight to the point on this one, but how to Jedi mind trick your boss, how to throw him off, how to play him, how to, this really is gonna, it's some like little tricks I've learned to kind of play with human psychology to really just kind of get your boss off your back. I mean, the first one, there's really, I'll open with this one. This one is just like the most honestly powerful thing I found to really just get rid of your boss, to just get him to go somewhere else or to change what he's thinking about so that he's not focused on you necessarily. It's pretty simple. It's so simple, I'm gonna say it and you're like, what does that even mean? How does that make sense? But I'm just gonna say, give him a problem. You want to get rid of a boss, the fastest way possible is to give him a problem. Now I'll say the other day, it's probably a couple months ago, but the other day, I was at work, I was chilling, literally chilling, in a stack of newspapers and my boss comes by. I'm here chilling, I'm talking with my coworker, we just messing around, we just talking, we ain't getting nothing done, we ain't working, we're literally just standing there talking, we're not doing anything productive whatsoever. And then the boss comes around and we're really he doesn't show up. This was a job, I was a truck driver delivering newspapers, and the boss shows up once a month, if anything, and that doesn't even mean he's gonna show up when I'm working. So it's like a surprise to see him, he's here, and he's like, oh crap, the boss is here, we gotta get our shit together. And I see the other employee, no offense to him, he's a great guy, wonderful guy, as nice as you can be, but he gets a little startled, he gets a little thrown off, a little concerned about it. And me, I take action about it. What I did was, probably I want to say 15, 20, maybe even 30 minutes before I had this conversation with my friend, I looked around at the newspapers, right? And I noticed I was just missing some newspapers. I was like, see the boss coming, I'm standing here chatting with my friend, and it's I kind of paint the image for him that we were talking about this problem. The boss is coming, I go up to him, it's like, hey boss, that's one thing great too. Interrupt him as he's coming to you. You approach him. Don't wait for him to get to you. Approach you and say something. Cut him off. Cut him off. Don't wait for him to get up to you. Run up to him. God, I'm really filtering myself right now because I just want to curse all over the place. YouTube isn't necessarily okay with that, and I understand it, but I just want to curse all over these videos. But run up to that man. God, I wanted to curse. Run up to him. Be like, hey, how you doing? Hey, I need your help. Hey, come here. Hey, I'm giving you a specific example. I'm trying to paint you a picture of what happened in my work scenario, but you most likely don't deliver newspapers working in this scenario. But find anything that you can pick out, anything that you can bring up as a problem. You could even keep one in the background of your mind and holding on to it if you know your boss is going to come over at some point and you got to say something to get rid of him or to get him off your back, get him to stop bothering you. See, now the reason why this works, I'm kind of laying down the groundwork for it, you want to interrupt him, cut him off, get the first word in, address him politely, be like, hey, how you doing, and then direct him into the problem. Why this works is because it gives him two options. Especially at your boss, he's left with two options. One, he's gonna do everything he can essentially to try to solve that problem. It's his job to try to figure it out. You might not even need his help. This is really the funny part, the great part about this. You could really just be BSing. You might be able to figure out the problem on your own, but just the fact that you put it on his shoulders and you hand it to him, he's either gonna try to figure it out or he's gonna try to avoid it and try to get away from it. That's really where you really just kind of get him to go away. I don't want this to turn too much into a ramble, but just think about it. Even you can think about it in a logical perspective. If somebody comes up to you and they give you a problem, are you necessarily going to be thinking about something else? You have only so many options. Now, when you're in the position, when you're a boss, addressing your workers, it's really hard to not fall into one of these two categories. It's almost impossible for him to not either try to solve the problem or try to run away from the problem. Because the third option is he's going to stay in his own thought loop, and he's going to come up to you and he's going to say whatever he had intended to say to you. But chances are he may have had nothing he was intending to say to you whatsoever. You might be at your work worried about, oh, what's my boss going to say? But he might be making up what he's going to say when he actually sees you. He's like, he sees you. He's like, oh, I don't like you. Let me say some kind of insult. Let me say some kind of complaint. Let me just make up something. He could literally just make it up on the spot. And it's like trying to cut him off, trying to change his path, his direction before he even gets to that point. And it doesn't mean that once your boss is there that you can't still mess with him. You can just God, I messed with my boss, the other one. This one, it might even be a funnier story. Because, I mean, the other one's really straightforward. It's like I just threw a problem. The other thing I did was I play around with how I address them. You know, there's a theory. I don't want this to sound like rambling. I just kind of plug it in there. There's a theory that two opposing energies, if you follow me, can't live in the same place at the same time. And if you're coming at him with a different attitude and a different energy, and you hold your attitude and you hold your energy, it's going to be hard for him to resist it, because then he's forced to try to hold his attitude and his energy, and you can't outframe him. You can't overpower him. You can't force him to have to go into your reality, but there's little tricks to help you do that. So the other day, maybe I should even open with this story, but the lesson, the first one's really good. But so the other day, right, I'm at work, dazed out of my mind. I'm just standing there on the counter. I'm leaning back. I'm sitting there. I could have been on my phone at the time. I don't even know what I was doing. I don't know what I was thinking about. I might have not been thinking about anything. Just completely lost in my own head, in my own world. And then not even my boss, not even his boss, but that guy's boss, like some head boss comes in, you know, like manager of several different places, not just one different place. Like the head guy comes in and he's like, hey, you dazed over there? You confused? And I'm like, your reaction like, oh crap! Like that sounds like the human instinct reaction, but played him. Here's what I did. I made him have a different reaction. I confused him, I'm gonna say. I threw off his psyche. I threw off his state of mind. Because what I did, I mean, you can take this and apply it and use it in a different scenario. I'm going to give you the scenario I applied it in. I introduced myself. That's how I dealt with it. I introduced myself. And that completely, God, I want to curse. I want to be like that completely him up. He just completely screwed up his mind. Because, like, he's still there. Like, he's still responding like, hey, yeah, you dazed? You confused? Hey, get to work. We work here. Come on, get up. But like he wants to keep responding with that attitude, with that energy, with those words. And as I introduce myself, he doesn't necessarily stop responding like that, but I go so into the fact that I'm introducing myself that it forces him to introduce himself. He has no choice. I'm standing over there. I walk all the way around. I walk up to him. I extend my hand. I shake my hand. I tell him my name. I leave him in a position where he has no choice but to give me his name. Now what is he gonna do? Now he's in two different states of mind. Now I made him neurotic. Because now on one hand, he wants to be upset at me. He wants to yell at me. He wants to tell me off, you know, in a polite way, in a politically correct boss way, but essentially he wants to kind of make some sort of complaint. He wants to tell me off in some sort of way, but I completely threw him off because I went up and I introduced him myself, and then he's like, oh yeah, you know, like it not consciously but subconsciously he's like, dude, am I angry? Am I introducing myself? And he's like trying to give his responses like, hey, we work here. We're not dazed and confused. But he's like, oh yeah, I'm Mark. How you doing? Nice to meet you. And it's like, so it's like he's, God, I'm almost getting neurotic trying to explain this. How long? I got another couple of minutes to keep you guys' attention. I'm almost getting neurotic trying to explain this, but I'm trying to, like, I put him in a place where he's like, do I be angry, boss, or am I into introducing myself, boss? And you see, you really think about that from his perspective. He's a high up guy. He has to introduce himself to a lot of people. He's meeting people who's above him because they have to report, because he has to report to them. He's not the owner of the company. So he's meeting a lot of high-powered people. He's introducing himself all the time. He's probably has money. Maybe he goes up to nice places. Maybe he has a lot of friends, a lot of family. He's a successful guy. So he has already a state of mind, a person who he is when he's introducing himself. He has to be in a nice, friendly sort of like frame of mind, you know, really open, kind of giving, kind of expansive and expressive. You almost like you even put on that fake smile when you meet someone. So it's like, I literally made him neurotic. Long story short, he can't even like deal with me anymore. Like after that, I feel like I'm not saying this is gonna happen guaranteed for you, but if you do it really well, like what the key to doing it really well is I held my ground. He kept on trying to be like hammering his ground, like his perspective is the real word to use for me. Like his perspective is me standing here doing nothing, being lazy. My perspective was I'm introducing myself, and he kept on hammering on his perspective, but I kept hammering on my perspective, and I hammered on my perspective with more like, it's hard to really explain this to really understand, but it's like with more confidence, with more inner belief. Like I believed in my reality more than he believed in his, and I held on to mine stronger. So while he's still trying to be himself, you know, especially too, he's neurotic. I put him in a neurotic state. I'm not being neurotic because I'm like not addressing his side of the argument, of the story, of his perspective. I'm just addressing my side of it. I'm just addressing my perspective. I'm just staying in my perspective while he's going back and forth between two different ones. So he's all over the place, and I'm like, we're introducing ourselves right now. You're gonna introduce yourself. This is what we're doing. Like that's almost like sounding aggressive, but that's basically what I did to him. And so it's like, I kind of explained, like it wasn't like I just did it in one like swift movement. It's like he kept trying to reiterate, trying to say what he wanted to say over and over again, and I just kept continuing. Like I wasn't even acknowledging what he said. I was like, oh yeah, I don't know, yeah, I was dazed, confused, I was out of it. So by the way, yeah, I've never introduced myself. Yeah, my name's Xavier. Yeah, nice to meet you. Okay, so you're Mark. Yeah, you're the head boss. Okay, yeah, I was, you know, I was a little in my head. I don't know what happened. I was foggy. Yeah. You know, while he's just there, like, yeah, we work here. We're dazed. Don't be dazed. Like I'm stuttering now because I was like, I left him in a place where he was kind of left flabbergasted. Now, don't expect that you're gonna be some master at just doing this instantly, because I feel like the keys, it's kind of hard to get, but it's really where you're coming from, how you feel energetically, how much you believe in your reality, and that makes no sense. I know, that makes absolutely no sense. I make so many videos that I'm sure people are like, what the heck are you talking about? But what I'm trying to explain is that you can control your mental and your emotional state of being. You can control your reality. Your reality is truly what you believe it is. I'll kind of leave you with a story just to kind of hammer all these points home. There's the Road Down Bipolar told me this story, another YouTuber, where he said some guy once flipped him the bird. He gave him the middle finger, and he thought the guy was waving at him. So he waved back, he kept it going on. He found out later that he flipped the bird. But my point is, what if he just believed for the rest of his life that man was nice, that man was friendly, that man waved at him? Would he not live his reality based on that belief? Will he not live his life based on that belief, despite what the truth was? Reality isn't always the truth. Like obviously the ultimate reality is nothing but the truth, but lots of times there's different perspectives to the same truth. Both sides are right. Neither side is truly wrong. They're both conflicting. It doesn't make them wrong. But if you want to mess with your boss, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Be confident in yourself. Go work out if you need to build more inner confidence. Feel like you're strong. Feel like you can fight the world if you have to. And it doesn't even mean like that's starting to sound aggressive. Like, be ready to beat the hell out of somebody. Yeah. Be ready to kill somebody if you have to. That's so drastic. That's so unrealistic. But it's so that you don't have to. It's so that you can sit back in yourself, relax, calm and centered, and just be confident. Believe in yourself, believe in your world, believe in your reality, and then walk up to that boss. You hand them that problem and be like, yes, boss, I have this problem. What are you going to do about it? With all the conviction in the world. Or be like, well, I mean, the other one, like, I kind of introduced myself, so I mean, that one's kind of one you kind of play with. I just call it kind of the game of frames, whereas like the first one is just really straightforward. The frame is you're giving him a problem. That's just a great frame to just give the boss to mess him up, because like I said, he either has to try to solve the problem, or he tries to try to get away from the problem and leave you to solve it by yourself, and or ask somebody to help you, one or the other. But the general idea is just changing the frame. Changing the frame, changing the reality, changing which reality your boss is living in. Put your boss in a reality where he believes in you, where he is confident in you, where he thinks you can get the job done and he doesn't want to bother you, because you believe in yourself, because you're confident in yourself, because you believe you can get the job done, because you believe that any problem that comes your way, you're going to be able to solve it. You know you can solve it. You know you made it up to this point in your life. You know you've had problems before. You've probably already been through the worst points of your life. You're still moving forward. You're still growing, you're still getting stronger, you're still having more problems, and you're still overcoming all of them. And now you're gonna walk up to your boss with this mindset, with this reality, with this state of mind. You're gonna force your reality onto him. You're gonna force your world onto him. You're not gonna even care what he has to say to you. You're just gonna put your reality, because your reality is more important to you than his reality. Now this sounds really selfish, and it's getting completely selfish. I'm telling you how to trick your boss into leaving you alone. This is real. This isn't BS. This is real if you understand what I'm trying to convey to you. And this might not be as easy said than done. You may need to understand a lot more so you can fully come up to him with that right state of mind. Believe in your reality, hold on to it strongly, and not break it, not let him break it, not fall into his world or his reality, and you hold yours. One where you believe in yourself, one where there's nothing that can stop you, one where maybe you're even gonna quit your job and move on with your life and go make a better life for yourself. I'll leave it at that, guys. Y'all have a lovely life. If you want to learn more about anything discussed today, scroll through over 100 videos on my channel. Find one that sounds interesting and check it out, ma.